Hello everyone and welcome to the Anime Zilia. Today we're going to be going over Dr. Stone episode 24 of the anime series. So then the final episode of season 1 of the Dr. Stone anime. And we open up with two comedy sections. The first one being that Senku teases the village about needing a second phone. He didn't tell them the first time around because he didn't want to demotivate them, but it definitely is something that, needs to happen. One person needs it to receive and the other person needs it to speak, and vice versa. And the second is just Chrome being dense, and we know this. Chrome, you really need to tell Ruri your feelings for her, because honestly, she has the same ones, you have the same ones, just make it happen. But anyway, they're testing up the phones using the wires, and Ginro's like, hey Chrome, tell Ruri your true feelings. She's on the other end listening. And then Chrome's just like, hey Yuri, Ruri, aren't these phones and science amazing? And everyone's like, you idiot, you should have said something else. And yeah, okay, fine. That was funny as well, but we're used to it from Chrome's character. So, opening the show that way, I guess, is a light way to bring you in, especially because they're going for a more emotional and heavy type of theme to this episode. Because if you watched last week's, you'll know that they're ready for war with the telephones. But then, is the village actually ready? That's the main question. Now then, the most interesting thing to come out of this, however, is the mention of the word speakers. This is actually mentioned by Rurine, or Ruri, and however you want to pronounce it. You want to pronounce it like Kohaku does, or if you want to pronounce it like a normal person. And basically, according to the 100 Tales stories, speakers are bees that basically sting the top of a gravestone, allowing the dead to communicate with you. Now, this story is absolutely wacky and crazy, and I did have a good laugh at it, and it was quite intriguing. Now, the way they deciphered it was actually pretty interesting. So again, it helped Senku to break down the meaning, and it was actually a really great way of doing so. As it's tale number 14. And with 1 or 4, or it could be I and Ishi, as in Inshi, meaning stone. I think I pronounced that correctly. And this also flips over to the fact that 14 is on Senku's birthday. His birthday is on January the 14th, and basically Senku's like, whoa, okay, I get this, I know what it is. So they go to Byakuya's gravestone, and they find basically a glass recording. This is basically like a record player, but made out of glass, and I thought that, why is it made out of glass? And then they wouldn't be able to make a record, back when they did. And the fact is, it probably wouldn't keep. Glass keeps a lot better than plastic or metal, doesn't rust, so, that's why we have a glass one. Now, I still don't fully understand how the vibrations are stored in this, but I'm guessing it's got something to do with the way the needle carves in the vibrations from the voices, and then that gets translated into sound. I presume that's how it's done, but it still made me feel a bit dumb and unclear about how that actually happens. So if anyone actually knows and can explain a little better down in the comments, that would be much appreciated. Anyways, we can now hear the voices of the people from the past, the first generation. And this was a great scene, as it shows Byakuya to be somewhat of a creative and smart person. We know Byakuya to be a goofy kind of goofball, not really great with science as such, but he finds a glass bottle and is like, look, we can leave this to communicate with the people of the future. We can leave our messages on here and, store that. Make it, something that can help the future generations when they finally come and know how to use it. Now, there's one thing I do want to mention. Now, this is a small manga spoiler, but it doesn't spoil anything really. So, while they're making it, we have the fact that they need diamond to carve in the grooves and stuff, and the bald guy, the guy with the big beard and spiky hair you see on the screen here, I think he's like right behind me, and his wife, which is a bit further up. My hand disappears if I do that. And basically, they're like, okay, you can use our ring, but let us record a message. Now, we haven't heard that message from the anime or from the manga yet. So is that message still relevant, or is that just something that they wanted to do? Who knows? So, this shows off a good portrayal of Byakuya. And honestly, the whole segment with them being in the past, I do really find enjoyable. Like, if I'm perfectly honest with you, I kind of fell off with the show after the whole kind of Byakuya thing, because I enjoyed seeing how it became turned to stone with Byakuya and how they were establishing the village. But then afterwards I was kind of like, I gotta watch Dr. Stone again. So there was that. So seeing this character again actually made me enjoy the episode a lot more. Now the song... Okay, before the song though, they basically create this music record player, and it uses the gear cog system again, and you know, recycling material is always great, especially in this stone world. Use the speakers again, use the chords. It all seems like it works pretty nicely, but does that mean they had to break the phones in order to get the wires from it and use the speaker again and all that? It seems a bit downplayed, if I'm honest. But all in all, it does lead to a good song. Now, I thought the song was actually really good, and the use of the song made the episode more relatable. As, like I said earlier, they're preparing for war, and we get to see this, and it's worth noting that the science village, Senku's village, Ishigami village, it faces high odds of being overpowered and outnumbered by the Tsukasa Empire. So it's safe to say that there must be quite a lot of fear and anxiety running through the village. And the song actually helps basically get the whole village boosted up, the morale is all boosted, and they're ready for this battle. Because after hearing this song, and Senku saying, look, there are so many more wonderful things that come from science in the, from back before the world was turned to stone, that you guys don't even know about and you haven't even seen yet. And this basically inspires the entire village to basically go to war. And I love the fact that Gen was like, Senku, so now do you feel a little bit of the guilt that you probably have been feeling after stating war for this village and putting them into this harsh war? And Senku's like, nah, never felt any guilt. But Senku's a character who doesn't show his emotions that much, so he probably did feel a little bit of guilt. And this is probably a nice way how to lift it. Like I said, the song in general I thought was pretty good. I know they have mixed reviews about the song from different people that I've spoken to, but honestly, I don't mind it. I quite like the music. Now then, the whole village is pumped and we're ready for this battle. We're ready to set up more things and to get other things set off. But we end off with a shot of Taiju and Yuzuriha, because obviously they're going to be our inside moles. They're going to be the characters that are going to be using this phone to communicate with Senku and the rest of the village, telling them how Tsukasa's empire is moving. And as well as seeing Yuzuriha and Taiju, we do get to see Tsukasa's team again. And the designs are looking pretty good, I will admit that. Some of them are very interesting and intriguing, and I do want to find out more from other characters. One side thing that I have to note though about this episode that really kind of annoyed me a little bit is the animation studio could not decide on how to draw Kohaku. There are so many memes with this character about her eyes being like outwards, like on the side of her head, and all this and all that. Kohaku is a character that I really do like, but in this episode we see her drawn in so many different ways that honestly is like she's a completely different character in every single scene. So I wish they could probably just get a good design and stick to it for her character. But that's just my personal gripe and preference, I suppose. Overall, I thought this whole series, this whole 24 episodes, were okay. They weren't brilliant, some were a lot better than others, and some were a lot worse than others. So I'm going to put it in the okay department, but I did find myself getting slowly less interested in the show as it went on. Unfortunately, it was kind of around about after the whole Byakuya thing that I kind of just started going, I gotta record Dr. Stone again. And honestly, you might have been able to notice this from the reviews. The reviews have been a bit more later, and they've been on a Saturday more than a Friday if I can get them up on time. Obviously, this one is late. Sorry about that. But, you know, where I've been prioritising other things and a lot more before actually watching Dr. Stone on a Friday night and reviewing it, you know, that just proves that the show isn't living up to my expectations at the moment. And unfortunately, as season 2 has been announced at the end of this episode, I'm honestly not sure if I'll be reviewing it next time it comes back. But we'll have to wait and see how things go. Maybe there won't be anything else for me to watch and review, so I'll just be doing this again. I don't know, maybe I'll find something that I really do like about the show. I know it's going to be heating up, and this war should be interesting. I just wish that they didn't drag it out for so long. That's my personal issue I have with the show. However, that being said, if you're a fan of science and comedy, then this series is definitely the one for you. And I would highly recommend it for you if you are a fan of, again, science and comedy. And obviously if you like the manga as well, by all means. So, with all that out of the way, I hope you've enjoyed this review. If you have, make sure to hit that like button. Dislike if you dislike. Let me know why in the comment section below. Feedback is always appreciated. Let me know your thoughts on this episode and the series in general down below as well. And other than that, subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me. And I hope you'll have an amazing day. Bye bye for now.